Thank you very much for that kind introduction. Mr. President, ministers, excellencies, member of parliament, and all of you gathered here today. This is a remarkable opportunity we have before us, and it is an honor to be invited to address you. It was great to hear the vision that the Minister President laid out for the potential of AI and to hear about the remarkable progress in North Rhine-Westphalia. It is for me a privilege to be back in Berlin. We at Google have been here almost since our beginning, almost 25 years ago. And to be able to join this discussion at this moment is a critical time. Let me share a story. I spoke with the Minister President yesterday about the fact I had an hour yesterday free in the afternoon, and I was able to go to the German Historic Museum, the Deutsche Historische Museum, and I saw two exhibits. The first exhibit was about the discussion in Germany in the 18th century about the Enlightenment, the Aufklärung, and the rise of the scientific method and the achievement of German science, laying a foundation for the progress that we see today. The second exhibit was called Wendepunkt, excuse me, I have no German. And it told the story of key moments in German history, from 1848 until 1989, and asked what if each of those moments had turned out a little differently? What world would we live in today? Well, you see where I'm going. In walking back along Museum Island, I thought of the combination of these two exhibits and the topic we have here today, because we do believe that we are at a watershed moment, a Wendepunkt, in which we have the opportunity to seize a remarkable opportunity. New trends in globalization, in technology, and in a shifting security landscape are changing the conversation about how Europe can regain its competitive edge. The theme of today's conference, as you heard, is from coal to AI. With a GDP that's larger than that of many nation states, North Rhine-Westphalia has been adept at evolving its economy to meet the needs of the future. But how do we adopt that attitude, that approach more broadly? As Mario Draghi's report pointed out, the broader European Union faces a challenge. Technology progress has slowed, and a complex regulatory environment has contributed to what Draghi has called, and I quote, a vicious circle of low investment and low innovation. And he does have a point. The US and European economies used to be similarly sized. The US economy is now 15% larger than Europe's economy. In his report, Draghi notes that no company with a market capitalization of over 100 billion euros has been started from scratch in the European Union in the past 50 years, not one. He notes that over that same time, the US has seen, he says, 6, now 7 companies with NVIDIA that have grown to a value of over 1 trillion euro. So that's the challenge in front of us. But more importantly, what do we do about it? If Europe missed out on the internet wave, should it just throw in the towel for the AI wave? Clearly not, hardly. There is an old line in technology that technology races are often won not by the first to invent a technology, but by the best to deploy it, the best to put it to work. And there, Europe has remarkable opportunities. If AI will drive progress for decades to come, Europe is well positioned to take advantage. The European Union has a well-educated workforce with roughly as many computer science graduates as the United States. It has a single market that could, in theory, help new innovations scale rapidly to everyone. And in many cases, it has leaders like the Minister President who are ready to get in the game. Mr. President Wust and his ministers are clearly focused on these opportunities. The state government of NRW understands what's at stake and is preparing for a future where economic and geopolitical leadership belongs to the nations that lead in AI. And as he noted, the German Economic Institute in Cologne found that AI could create a value of over 330 billion euro for the German economy, while saving the average employee over 100 hours a year. That's the equivalent of freeing up more than 2 working weeks for everyone from mundane administrative tasks, time that could be used for more creative and more productive work. That is a lot of upside. But with the geopolitical competition underway, there's no time to waste. The Chinese government is ramping up their investment in AI, what President Xi Jinping calls the commanding heights of technology, pouring billions into data centers and integrating AI across its economy, and other governments are acting as well. If we want to compete, we need a pro-innovation AI agenda that supercharges the AI applications that are already underway in the region and across Germany. Now is the time, what we would call in English, the 3 I's: innovation, infrastructure, and investment in workers. Innovation supported by pro-science and pro-innovation regulatory frameworks, infrastructure and resources for AI that build on partnerships and collaboration, and investment in the workforce, reskilling and upskilling workers to allow them to maximize their productivity in the transition ahead. So let's briefly go through all 3 of those pillars and what's needed from a regulatory perspective, because history teaches that missteps here can be our undoing. Europe does need a framework for innovation, not a framework that holds back innovation. According to a 2014 EIB study, more than 60% of European companies have identified regulation as a key obstacle to further investment. Just last week, in fact, at the AI Summit in Paris, more than 70 companies, European companies, launched the EU AI Champions Initiative, including leading companies headquartered in NRW, like Covestro, Henkel, and Aon. Their top request was for the harmonization and simplification of more than 100 regulations targeting the digital economy. And that's before we come to the AI Act being discussed in Brussels. We believe at Google that AI is too important not to regulate and too important not to regulate well. If it's illegal to do it without AI, it's probably illegal to do it with AI. And the Act itself, the AI Act, struck a workable risk-based compromise. And a new AI code of practice was supposed to be a manual for how to implement the AI Act to promote responsible innovation. Unfortunately, it is the consensus of all the leading AI labs that the draft code that's being finalized right now has taken something of a wrong turn. It requires a heavy bureaucratic review of all general-purpose AI models, not just high-risk ones. It mandates the sharing of training and model data, creating risks of data poisoning and cyber attacks. And it singles out larger companies while exempting others, which threatens the security of the entire ecosystem. All of this risks slowing investment and discouraging model providers from developing AI in Europe and offering their latest and best models to European companies and citizens. But it's important to know that Europe can get back on track and that Germany can lead in that effort. But we need to act, and we need to act in the coming weeks and months. This week, we are seeing early signs that the European Commission and President von der Leyen understand the need to streamline the regulatory process, and a growing chorus of important European and German voices are raising similar concerns about the implications here for AI made in Europe. A second critical area is working together to build AI infrastructure, and the Minister-President talked a lot about the importance of this. Luckily, in Germany, we are off to a great start. Google is proud to partner with companies like Lufthansa, Bayer, Aon, Metro, and Reva, companies that use Google Cloud, our AI tools, to streamline their operation, achieve sustainability goals, gain valuable insights, and lead to breakthrough products of their own. From search and ads to cloud, Android, YouTube, our products are deeply intertwined with the German economy. We generate something like $13 billion in economic activity across NRW alone, and more than $53 billion across Germany. That's the equivalent of supporting 860,000 jobs. As we look ahead to AI, we need to keep that momentum going, as Germany stands to gain even more in economic opportunity. And that's why we're investing billions in Germany and putting that investment to work for our German customers, our users, our business partners, with 2 separate cloud regions, increasing our research partnerships, and more. And that's just getting started. In the months ahead, we're looking forward to working with the government here, as well as with our customers and research partners, to develop, empower, and scale AI in ways that benefit people everywhere. But with AI innovations happening so quickly, we were saying before the talk this morning, the models that we released last week are now at the top of the charts. The models that they beat were from December, and the models that those models beat were from October. This is a remarkable era of change. We have to make sure that we bring not just businesses, but workers along as well. And that brings me to my third point, investing in workers. 60% of today's jobs didn't exist 80 years ago. I grew up in Silicon Valley, which was called around 1900 by a German botanist visiting out to Palo Alto. He called it the Valley of the Heart's Delight, because it was a wonderful agricultural land. You could grow anything. My grandfather, who worked out there, took his shower after he went to work, not before he went to work. For him, work was getting dirty and sweaty. He would think of what most of us do for a living as a vacation. We get to talk to nice people all day long. We don't have to get dirty and sweaty in our work. I think the next generation of jobs will be even greater. We're richer and more productive and more creative. We will have jobs that don't exist today, and that will boost businesses of all sizes, letting workers focus on non-routine tasks. But it's also true that jobs will change, and we need to get serious about laying the transition, the framework for that transition. In an economic opportunity report released last year, we estimated that 61% of jobs will be augmented, added to, by AI, and that 7% will need a long-term transition. That's why we're working hard to put AI skills and education at the top of our agenda. Public-private partnerships will have an important role to play in accelerating those efforts, and that work is well underway. Over the last decade, Google has worked with governments to train over 13 million Europeans in teaching digital skills to build their business careers. We've created a 25 million euro AI opportunity fund, working with civil society to train the most vulnerable people in Europe. And here in Germany, we've trained almost 2 million Germans in digital skills, from AI to the future of work and more. With generative AI having the potential to add an astonishing 1.4 trillion euros to Europe's GDP in the next 10 years, we have to work together to keep up the momentum for these programs so that we're not just developing AI, but deploying it in a way that benefits everyone. So to end my talk on an optimistic note, it's important to recognize that we are in an era of wonders. The potential of AI is not just chatbots. Chatbots, in fact, are a tiny percentage of its potential. The real action, the real excitement, is in the scientific breakthroughs. AI is a general-purpose technology, but it's not just a scientific breakthrough. It is a breakthrough in the way we make breakthroughs. It is an invention for creating inventions. So AI-enabled advances like Google DeepMind's AlphaFold technology are delivering generational progress in biology and healthcare, some of the examples that the Minister-President gave you earlier. But beyond healthcare, look at material science. Tools like Genome are transforming the way we create new materials, creating thousands, millions of new materials, which will allow breakthroughs in areas like nuclear fusion, batteries that are 10 times, hold 10 times more energy, membranes that can help us create clean water around the world, new ways of distributing energy around the grid, improvements in transportation with self-driving cars. This is a remarkable era of abundance that is standing before us, and we need to work together to seize the opportunity and make sure it is broadly shared. The title of today's conference, as you heard, From Coal to AI, reminded me of another lesson from German history. In the 1950s, the beginning of the European Union was in the European coal and steel community, a predecessor to the European Union we know today. If the United States and Europe work together, we today need an AI community, making sure that we are taking advantage of our respective strengths and opportunities. And if we do that, we can create a brighter future for people everywhere. So in that spirit, let's seize the extraordinary opportunity ahead of us. We will learn by doing and doing together, so let's get to work. Thank you very much.